Hello again. Today we are coloring something fun. At least I think it's fun. Well, we're starting out a little bit in a strange way because I already did some coloring and I was forgotten to bring my liquid blending solution. So we are trying it again. Not at the beginning, I already colored this part. I went to fetch my blending solution, I forgot it. I always use Gamsol and I use a blending stump and a sandpaper. When I'm going to blend skin tones, I always clean it. Okay, let's do that first and then I'll explain you the rest again that I already did. Well, let's see. I have dipped my blending stump in the blending solution and I'm starting to blend her forehead. I am avoiding this lightest spot. I wanted to keep nice and bright. I'm blending a little bit, but I try to stay away from the inside because I wanted to keep nice and bright. It doesn't matter how small the area is you're coloring, always use contrast. I will show you what I did. I am coloring with Caran's Luminance. I started with this one, the 741, and then it's not even true. I started with the 745. I blended it in with the 741, and then I went on to the 068, and then finally the white spot I did with the titanium buff, the 801, all mixed in that small part. So you've seen by now we are coloring with the Caran's Luminance this time. It's my favorite pencil and they are always performing excellent. So especially on this paper, this is the Canson 1575 and I think it's an excellent paper. It has a very light grain and it performs really well with pencils like this or with Holbein pencils. So yeah, I really love it. Here at the edges and under her eyes, we always have the darkest parts of her face, just like in the corners of her eyes. Here we are going to use these darker tones. It's basically always the same in every portrait. And so, of course, in grayscale you can see a little bit on where to use them. But if you do this more often, you know where to shade and where not. So just see where I'm going. And it's almost always the same. This is from my new book, Weird Cuties. We have two of them, part 1 and part 2. This is part 1. It has mostly cute puppets like this, a little bit weird but still cute, and the other ones has weird animals in the same style, and I think it's a lovely book. So I wanted to show you how to color them. I think it's a reasonable beginner friendly book because well, I think it's best to show you. It is basically coloring shades of gray, and every shade you give its own unique color. And well, you can do everything with a page like this. It's a fantasy portrait. The pieces are not that big. That's also very helpful, I think. It's easier to color a portrait like this than a very big one. here at the outsides of the nose, you have always some shading. We are going to use some white now. I had it before. Here at the tip of the nose, I will make a white dot. Here we have always lots of light, and here at the bridge of the nose, there also is a spot you want to keep nice and bright. I always use my white, just like here, those two things underneath her nose. I want to stay white. So I do that always. If you have done that, then you can't color over it so very easily, and it will stay nice and bright. I'm going to add another color I'm using very much. This is the 542. The butternut is a little bit of a yellowish color, and I think it's wonderful to use in combination with the skin tones. So let's use it. I'm not going to give too much details here. Here at her chin, you also have a white spot. It's always there. I do that first. If you are not coloring that, you end up with a flat face, and that's not what you want. Even in such a small face, it's basically kind of a circle. I'm going to build it up just like the nose, with darker colors around the lighter dot. That is what I'm going to do. Here I'm going to use a slightly darker one. I do not know if you can see it, but you see lots of gray in this page. So it basically means that you have to go for a little darker combination of skin tones. If you see, yeah, well, sometimes it's almost white, then you can go for some lighter colors, but here we are going to go for some moody colors. It's a little bit of a gothic kind of book, but also not. It is just a fun and weird book, I think. Here at the nose, we are going to use the ivory. Also always lots of light areas here. This is sticking out, so everything what's sticking out is lighter. And then we go over in this very gentle, almost in a half moon shape towards her nostrils, and we are going to fill this in. I'm always talking if I am with someone else. It's only me, it's not we, but for some reason I keep doing that. Okay, you might have noticed I have spared out this area here in the middle. This is also a part we want to keep nice and bright. If it was a lighter grayscale, I also could have used the white, but I think this one is better suited for this place. We'll also try to light up here under the eyebrows. They are not very visible, but we will get them back later on. Under the eyelids, we are lighting it up a little bit. Wanted to brighten them up so you can see them a little bit better. And I am filling in the gaps. Okay, that we are coloring over the eyebrows is not such a big deal, because I always use skin tone as a basic layer before I am coloring the hair of my skin tone. So let's blend again. Always clean your tip, especially when you are coloring skin tones, because, well, you do not want to end up with a nasty stain. It's still not very clean. Let's do this tip. I always have multiple, sometimes some things I use for lighter colors and some for darker, so they're very handy to have. I love this size, the one. They are perfect for detailed work. You can also do it with cotton tips, but for these details I wouldn't advise it. I start again here. We're at again with the lightest areas, especially on such a small face like this. Let's be careful and avoid that area, because we do want to keep some shading. I am also going to use some blush on her face, but I always adjust my blush to the hair color and the clothes I'm going to give her. So I haven't decided that yet, so I'm going to wait with that until I do know what I'm going to do. But for now I am going to leave it like this. I think this is a perfect layer to start with. You see the white we did before, you still see. That's a nice trick. If you use bright white and you are trying to color over it, well, you will see that is not possible, because it won't stick anymore. So that's also a reason why I always start coloring from the dark to the light parts, because I want to make sure my colors are blendable together. I think you probably think, whoa, that's really dark skin tone. People who are beginning to color always tend to make it lighter. That's because it looks really strange when nothing else is colored. But if I put my hand on it, I think you will see it's not that dark. It's actually almost the same color as my hand. So you can always check, and I will show you that when you have colored the hair, it will be perfect again. So let's do some hair first. We're going to skip around everything. I think that's more fun to watch than doing all the skin tones at once. It's a little bit boring, I think. So let's start with, can you still see it? Yes. I always have to check on my screen what I am actually filming. It wouldn't be the first time when I completed a movie and I have colored everything out of frame, so that would be a shame. I'm going to give her black hair, and black hair is never completely black. If you would do that, you would end up with a black helmet. It's not pretty. I always love to highlight it with blue or red or a purplish color. If you want to go for a natural look, go for a little bit of a gray tone or a light blue like this. But you can also exaggerate it a little bit. I have here a coloring I've been working on. I have been doing a video with it also. Here I've colored some fantasy hair. It's not done yet. And I use really blue and pink. I think that is sometimes very fun to do also. But I want this page a little bit on the gloomy side, a little bit moody. So let's see. I have a black. And what else can we use? I am thinking, shall I go for a blue one or shall I go for grayish? I do not know. Some people, they are planning their video. I am not good at that. I always just color and see where it takes me. And well, mostly it ends up pretty nice. So it's always a little bit exciting. I have now a grayish color. I think I miss some color. What shall I do? I have lots and lots of very bright blues, but I do not want that. What shall we do? I cannot think too long. but then it gets boring. Let's see, what are we going to do? We are going to do this one. I think that will do. Also a blue one. Let's sharpen it. I always use the Dale 133. If you are coloring hair, make sure you have a sharp tip. You cannot color hair with a blunt pencil. It's important. I always notice people do not sharpen their pencil enough, and then it's almost impossible to color something really pretty like hair. I am lowering down my pressure here on my pencil because I wanted to blend those two colors together. Can always go over it again with my light blue, and I'm already blending a little bit just with my pencils. That's also possible, especially when you have a paper like this. It's a really suitable kind of paper for this brand. I use it also with a polychromos, and there I have to say it's not the best choice, but here it is. If you are buying some new pencils, or you're buying single stock and you want to try them, and the first time you are disappointed, always try it again with some different paper. It can make a lot of difference, so do not give up so fast. And I am trying to see what shades of gray I see, and I am also playing a little bit with it. I am using some extra on some places. That's because I have done this a little bit more often, but it's always to keep in mind the head goes round, and at the roundest spot, that's here and here, there you also always have that shine again. And now we'll go for big contrast. By big contrast I mean big difference in color, like this. This is my lightest, black is my darkest. Then you get a very nice coloring. If you are not brave enough to choose, because I know it's a little bit complicated sometimes when you are doing this for the first time, you will probably notice that it's not going to be the way you expected it, because if colors are too much the same and you are going to blend them, you will end up with the same color. So then you know why. I will show you again on this small piece what's going to happen when we are going to blend it. I'm starting here again. I want it to stay nice and blue. I always like pages like this with those smaller details. They are fun to color. I think when you have a large object, well, that is more challenging because it is a little bit boring sometimes. And pages like this, you can you can go overboard with your colors, and you can do so much fun things. If you have trouble choosing the right colors, you can always try to find a page on Pinterest or whatever, or in a Facebook group, and you are selecting a page you think has really nice colors. And you can try to get the same effect yourself by trying to match the colors to it. So if you have trouble picking the right color, it's no big deal if you are trying to get some help. I have to concentrate a little bit. It's not really 100% going according to plan, but that's because I always find it more difficult to color when I'm talking. it actually is. I always make the same joke that women always think that they can do 10 things at once, but I can assure you it's not the case. It's hard, even for us women, so quality gets a little worse when we are trying to do it. I'm going to use a little bit of black here because I saw some really dark edges. Try to see what kind of colors you are seeing, what kind of gray. Grayscale coloring is a great way to learn how to color. You have a lot of help because you can see where you have to shade, and it will actually improve your coloring skills if you are coloring something like line art or you want to color something yourself. It is really helpful, and I think it's a very relaxing way. I sometimes see that people coloring over with one color and say that's grayscale coloring, and that is very easy. It's not the case. It's basically the same as line art. You have to give every piece its own unique shade. Only now you are coloring shades of gray, black and white, and that's the difference. And you see many shades of gray. And I hope it also shows that you can actually color the parts that are almost black. They will help you to get this beautiful dark hair. It sets the mood for your coloring. So if you have a coloring like that is a little bit grayer, it's only logical to go just for the just a little bit darker colors. I saw a comment of someone on Facebook. She was a little bit mad because she wanted to color blonde hair on a grayscale page that wasn't really suitable for it. It had almost black hair, so to me it makes no sense to make that into a blonde. It's just not there. If I would make a blonde in a page like this, I could try it with her because she is relatively light, and then we probably get it to look like a pretty blonde. But this one or this one, they are way too dark to end up as a beautiful blonde girl. I have add some black here at the top and filling her this in with skin tone, mix it a little bit with my pencil, and well, now we have one piece done. I always try to go at least for 3 different colors with every piece I'm coloring, sometimes even more. You do not need to, but it is getting prettier if you do. So even when you are coloring an eye or lips, do not use one color. That is not going to be very pretty, so do not do that. If you can see here, here you see it goes from black to this, and then it fades out into nothing, and I'm just filling in what I see. And of course stay away from her hand and her arm. Be careful, we haven't colored it yet, so let's avoid it. And I'm simply coloring what I see. You don't have to overthink it. Basically color shades of gray, like I said. Here you also have some, and well, that's it, I think. Let's color it a little bit further. If you see, if I'm coloring more to the opposite, you will see that my color gets too light to get coverage on that area. So if you see gray shimmering through, then it is probably because you are coloring with a too light color, and then you have to get a darker one. So it's very easy to check. If you see gray, it could have two reasons. Maybe you are just not putting enough pressure on your pencil, or your color is too light. And with a pencil like this, you do not have to press very hard. It's not necessary, just medium pressure. That's all you have to do. It's not needed to use more pressure on a pencil like this. They are really soft. And always blend it in again a little bit. Go over it with your lightest color. That helps getting the colors flow over. And I am going to do it here just a little bit. And let's go over in the gray. First, maybe we can first do the black. Here you can see around her head. There we have the really dark places. So it's only logical that we are going to use the black here. Always be careful. Use a sharp tip and take your time. You do not want to color over the skin tones. You are not seeing stripes, so you can color with round circles here also. But if it is more, if you see more hair like here, then always color in the direction of the hair. But here it's not visible, so it does not matter really how you are coloring. I always try to go in one direction, but in a spot like here or here, it's sometimes a little bit more complicated, so it's not such a big deal. Yeah. And I'm going to fill it in with the gray. Oh, stay away from the blue spots. You can always go over that again later. And blend it in a little bit with the blue, so that the colors blend in nicely. Of course, we are not coloring the entire picture today, because it will take a very long time, but I think this is a fun one to do multiple videos and show you more. We have a coloring group on Facebook. It's called We Create Dreams, and there you can find everything about crafting and coloring. We are doing things like this. We are coloring live in the group. We are organizing events, body colorings. You can win a lot of things, and I think the most fun part is every month we have lovely new coloring pages, and they are all for free. So, and I have made my own books on Etsy and on Amazon. I stopped at it because it gave me too much worries, and I did not have time to be to do things like this, and I really like it, and now I can do it again. But those books you can still win, or sometimes I give them away. I think there is lots and lots of fun action in our group. And if you are a creative person, you want to be part of a very social and fun group, you want to check it out, hopefully, and become a part of it. And well, this is one of the books we are offering. There is also a set in full color you can use for other options, and we're also showing what you can do with them. Lots of other fun things you can do with well, pages you colored or just printed out. And I hope you love it just as much as we do. Look how pretty her hair is. My fantasy black hair. There is nothing so much fun as coloring a fantasy page. Everything is possible. Normally you wouldn't color hair like this, but now you can actually do it in this way, and that's fun. It really is. I forgot to tell you, we are also doing lots of tutorials about digital coloring, and that's also a thing I really love to do. And I also like showing you that a normal coloring page can be just as pretty as a digital one if you give it your time and effort. Of course, digital coloring is faster, but a normal coloring can be just as fun and just as pretty. It really is. So I know lots of people have a strange idea about digital coloring. It's simply not so. It is a skill, and you really have to put a lot of effort in it. So I hope by showing you lots of different things that you get more open-minded or find new ways to color. It's fun doing different things, I think. So I want this to stop here, and I want this to make it in the hair of the other one. Strange English again. I always have. I think the ones who are watching me more often know this is not my native language, but you've probably figured it out. I am from Holland, and we all speak pretty good English, but well, it's still complicated to color and also think what you are saying. So sometimes I say funny things, but well, maybe you consider that as a bonus. You can learn to color, and you can also have something to laugh sometimes. You see, you can color over it again, the details you've used before in this light blue. You can enhance again. Now, I think she looks pretty. Let's color some more. I am going to color the piece under her chin. Here you also always have lots and lots of shading. Sometimes you can even use a very dark brown, but it's not here. I'm keeping this a little bit more simple because, well, it is a little bit of more of a basic girl with a little bit of a painting artsy vibe, and so I am simply going to use 2, and I think that is enough. I always like to make pages there that are not the usual grayscale pages. I have seen that, well, about hundreds of times, and when I started creating my books, I thought, why should I do that? I've seen that so much, and some are really good at it, so why should I add some more? So I decided to do things the way I like it and the things I would love to color. I think that's the upside about on creating your books when you are coloring yourself. I made my books with IA, no secret there, so I'm very open about it. I know everyone has an opinion about it, so I'm not going to get into that. Everyone can make his own choice about that, but I really try to do my own thing and really put an effort in it, and always take out strange parts as much as I can, because I do not think they are supposed to be there, and I pay lots of time and effort on my pages. So, but I think lots of you know that. Okay, I am working towards the lighter color. Let's sharpen it. It's very small and tiny arm, so I have to have a sharp pencil, and I'm going to stay away from the blue, because when I am coloring over it, I will blend the blue into the skin tone. I will not blend it with my liquid solution. This part I will just do it with my pencils. There is too much that could go wrong. If you want to color something like this, I can advise you strongly first to color the skin tones. But I did it now in a different way because I wanted to keep the video a little bit interested, so, and that's why I didn't do it. Okay, let's see. What shall we give her for clothes? I always think orange and bluish colors are really pretty together, so let's do something with that. Oh, I'm going to go for a bright orange, a lighter one, and what shall we? Can also use a little bit of brown. I think that's nice. And let's use a small amount of yes, I wanted to have a little bit of a vintage vibe. No, not this one. This is a little bit of yellowish ochre, and these are the four I'm going to use. A really bright orange, a lighter orange, and some brown for the details. Let's sharpen them. Even it's a small detail. Like I said, this is my lightest color. The dark brown will be my darkest one. So lots of variation in a very small area. Here at the top you can see we have the lightest color, so we are going to use it there. And here in the middle you probably would have a bright spot, blue and orange. That is a really good color combination. So that is something that can't go wrong. Tiny details, take your time for it, keep your pencil sharp, and it doesn't matter how small your piece is, use multiple colors. If you would color this in one shade of orange, it is going to end up pretty boring, so always use more. Small sleeves, short sleeves, but we are adding lots and lots of different colors. Here this goes underneath her arms, so we have always some shading there. It's always there. I'm going to blend a little bit already with my pencils. It's very easy to do when you are coloring these smaller areas. And this is, well, her body goes also, it's round. Here we have the lightest parts, and at the sides we have the darker parts. I do not know if you see it, but you see some stripes, and we are going to very gently color in with the darker orange. Do not make so much pressure, put so much pressure on your pencil. It's not needed, not here. Do it delicate. So we are doing this at the side. Every month we are going to bring out a new online magazine where we show lots and lots of new books, and of course lots of videos like this. If you want to see something or you have questions, you can always contact us and we can see what we can do for you and maybe do a video with something you would like to see. So we want to pay lots of attention in showing how to do things. Some people make want to keep knowledge for themselves. I do not like that. I love to share it, and I think it is very rewarding when I see other people get the hang of it. I have given lots of workshops and I have seen so many people enjoying coloring, and they thought they were never going to learn it, and now they can. So it's really fun. If you wouldn't have done these stripes, it would also be a really nice coloring. It wouldn't be such a big deal, but I thought for me it's only logical if I show you well, what is possible in coloring a page. And I do also like to see how with every piece you are coloring, you are seeing your page come to life, and that's always really fun, I think. I'm going to blend this already a little bit with my pencils. I'm doing this with this yellowish color, coloring a little bit over the parts I've already done. And wow, I think that looks good. Let's get some help from our blending thing. Clean it again. Always put your finger on the tip. It gets it nice and pointy again. And dip it in a bottle of Gamsol. Zested is also a very good brand. Only it's made from I can't come up with the name. The yellow, very sour citrus fruit. There they get some oil off and they made it from that. But I think I do not like the odor it has, so that's why I'm always using this. But it works in the same way and it's really wonderful to use. So, but I think it smells, so that's one of the reasons I do not use it very often. And I also most of the time use Gamsol. Okay, now you can see the shading. You can also always give it some more, go over it again and color it all the way onto the edges. Yes. You see how beautiful this orangey yellow is with the blue hair. There are some color combinations you can't go wrong, and this is one of them. Now I'm going to use my brown pencil and I'm going to add the details here and her sleeve and the spots around here, very gently to here. Do not put too much pressure on your pencil when you are doing this, and always make sure you have a very sharp tip. If you have the Polychromos or perhaps the Faber-Castell Black Edition, it's a harder pencil. I think for small details they are really fun to use, so you can combine the two brands together, and it's a more beginner friendly pencil. But these are for me my absolute favorite pencil. You have some cheaper brands like the Brutforner or the Colour pencils. You get an impressive amount of pencils for not so much money. Of course they are not light proof, but for most colorists that's not such a big deal. They are relatively cheap, and I have to say they actually color really well. So I've done some videos with them. Also want to show you lots and lots of different brands, because they all have their uniqueness, and then you can see what they can do, and I will always give you my honest opinion about them. So well, doesn't she look pretty? Here we can do some brown. I think she looks good. Okay, a skirt. What shall we do? Yeah, I have to think. We can do everything. It is yes, I have an idea. Now I have to find it. I really can't organize it. I really have no idea what I'm going to do, so I always have to see. And so that's a little bit chaotic. I thought this would be nice. 3 colors from light to dark. As you can see, again, very big contrast. I love this kind of colors that the caran luminanace have, these strange light colors. They are actually really fun to color with. So sharpen them again. I broke a piece off. Okay, and let's see, here we have the darkest area. Be careful again, sharp tip. We are coloring in the folds of the skirt, and underneath the shirt, the skirt is going under the shirt, so the shading is on the skirt. That's always, if something is going under something, there is where you put your shading, and it can be really dark. So okay, and now we are going to fill it up with the other colors. In the middle here, there we will always have the lightest area. So I'm going to use just a little bit, because we are going to blend it, and this is a really small skirt, and if you are going to blend you are going to blend the colors a long way, so we only need a little bit like this, and we are going to fill it in with this lighter green, and we are blending over the edges of the green. And now you see what I mean, we are blending them in, and the little amount of the other green colors is just enough, otherwise we would lose these lighter areas very easily. Contrast, I keep saying it, is so important. A beautiful coloring takes time. You cannot color a very beautiful page in an hour. It's simply not possible. You do not have to color the way I do. It's all up to you. But I love to show you how to do it. Can we use this? Now let's clean it again, because I think there is still lots of blue on the tip. So sharpen again, dip it in the blending solution, and I'm coloring from the light area to the dark area now, because I want to be very careful that I am going to keep it as light as it is now. So I only blending very careful. Blending is a really nice way, if you are not such a skilled colorist, to end up with a very decent coloring. It also helps when you are printing your pages on simple copying paper. Then you can actually see that paper does bring out the best in your pencils, because with normal copying paper you will see that it's way hard to get this beautiful result. But when you are blending it, you can end up with a pretty coloring as well. So sometimes if you are coloring a lot, you do not always want to buy such expensive paper. Okay, well, I think that looks pretty nice. Now we have her stockings. Let's do some, I want to stay a little bit in the same colors, but also not. We're going to go for the brown. And we are going to add on some more orangey brown. And I'm looking for another one. What shall we use? We also have a lighter one, and we will use a little bit of the bright orange too. So basically the same colors, but with some slight difference. I was first thinking, shall I do it the same way as the shirt? But I thought that could be a little bit boring. So I thought, let's do something with these colors. I will let them lay here. First, I am going to color the outline. Can you still see it? Can you still see the feet? Yes, you can. It would be a shame if you can't see them. And very careful. Take your time. Those outlines has to be sharp. Do not put too much pressure on it. It's not necessary, especially when on paper like this. And hopefully it shows again how easy it is to color this dark, almost black areas. It makes coloring this darker pages so much more easier. I always like them a lot. They set the mood for your coloring, and they tend to get so much better looking than when you are choosing for a lighter grayscale. I know it takes up lots of your ink, but I think it's always smart not to print out the entire book. Well, I have done that myself in the past too many times, that I was over enthusiastic and ended up with lots and lots of paper, and that I actually never colored. So now I only print the pages I am actually going to color. At least I'm trying to. I have to admit that is not going always according to plan, but I try to stick to that rule and well, think about it. If you are looking for a decent printer, I have a Epson EcoTank. It's not a very cheap printer, but it gets cheap very fast. I had another Epson. I asked for advice in a store, and the salesperson assured me that the cheap printer was just as good as the as the expensive one, but it really was not the case. I could only print about 13 images, and then I have to get a new ink cartridge, and my cheap printer became very expensive very fast. So my very sweet mother gave me a new printer, a Epson EcoTank, where you can refill your ink yourself. It's now more than a year old, and I am printing a lot, and I'm still not done with my first cartridge. So it's now already so much cheaper than the printer I had. That's the advice I want to give you, because those small cartridges, oh, they run out so fast. They are made that way. So they are made that way that you are keep buying ink. So I always want you to give that advice, because otherwise you will end up with nothing very fast. I think having an actual coloring book is always very nice to hold it and to look at it, but the quality of the paper, that's a whole different thing. I like to choose my own paper, and that's the upside of printing yourself. And of course, the printable books are not so expensive. So if you are a coloring addict, that's also something to think about. But on our Facebook group, all pages are for free, and we do pay very much attention to them. So I hope you will check us out and you will follow me on YouTube. That would be very amazing. I would love that. I'm blending these colors together, those pieces of orange. I don't know if you see it, but I do not pay very much attention to where I put my colors. I just make sure that all those stripes are being filled in, so that I can blend it again. And now she has orangey brownish legs, but not the same way as her sweater. Doesn't she look pretty? I think she does. Let's sharpen my brown again. It is a little bit fuzzy at the side. I do not like it. I want the lines to be smooth as possible, so I go over it again, and not too much because I do not want to ruin it. That would be a shame because it's going so well. So I think I should leave it like this. Now where one leg is slightly thicker than the other one, but well, I don't think others will notice. I shouldn't have mentioned it to you. Now you know, now you see it. I should have kept my mouth. Small detail here. Shoes. What shoes are we going to give her? Well, I think she should have green shoes also. That matches her skirt. I think that's nice. She's got a little bit of strange feet, not really how normal feet like, so we'll give you a tip. Also, this also goes round here at the top. You will have the part where you have the most shine. Look at your own shoes and you can see that. And we are coloring around it with my other green. Shine in the middle. And so we have nice shoes. Oh, don't do it with the brown side. Almost made a mistake by choosing the wrong tip of my blending stump. Oh, that's all you need. You can always give it some extra shine. Oh, sorry for tipping the camera. And that is just putting some white. Now she has glossy shoes, some white detail. That's enough. When you are not watching, I'm going to add on some detail to her arms, but because of the camera I can't get very near to the page and I do not want to ruin it, so let's stay away from that. Yes, she's almost finished. Let's see if we can do that together. I'm going to sharpen my blue first and my white, and I will show you a trick. Okay, an eye is also a round thing. You always have here in the corner of the eye, you have this red, burgundy or pink spot. It's always there. Look at your own eye, and an eye has shading. Underneath her eyelashes, it's not white. An eye isn't completely white. It has shading. It can sometimes even be brown. It depends on how dark your coloring page is. So, and then you blend it in with the white, because we do not want it to look too gray. And now we have this beautiful eye. What kind of eye color are we going to give her? Let's give her, I'm going to give her very nice and green eyes. Also not in one color, never do that. I'm going to highlight this part here. It's always at the bottom of the eye. In a fantasy coloring, I always use some brighter colors than in a normal eye. It's more fun. Going to give her green eyes with a little bit of yellow. I do not want to mess it up, like I said before. I cannot see it very well, so normally I will do a darker line outside, but I think I'm going to leave it this way because of my sight problem. And I am coloring this black. I do not pay much attention to the white dot. I will show you why. I have a Posca pen and I will add it on when I'm finished. It's easier. If you do not have a Posca pen, then you have to be careful and then you have to color around it, because this white dot really makes a difference in the eye. Now she's got lifeless doll eyes. It's not pretty. And we are going to correct it. Very gentle. Always lower your pressure when you are coloring eyelashes. This is basically a kind of a line, what you are seeing. This is what you see. Only color this. Don't do this. It's not in the page. You do not need to do that. You only complicate it yourself. When you do not see it, don't color it. Especially not when you are a beginner. It will not end well. Eyelashes are not supposed to look like spider legs, so be careful with your pressure, otherwise it goes wrong. Here at the bottom we are using some dark brown. I only use black in a gothic coloring or on a portrait, someone who is using lots and lots of makeup, then it is pretty in this color. Otherwise I am not doing that. I will add on more shading underneath her eye, some extra line, put on more contrast, and I will add on this. Very important. It's not very visible, so I will not use a very dark color. I think this is brown enough. And I will also do the same with her eyelashes. Very gentle. Make small stripes. Eyelashes, eyebrows. That are not eyelashes. They are difficult to see, so I will keep them very light. Then we can't go wrong. Tip of the nose. So. And let's see if we can carefully blend it. Clean it again. We are almost ready. As you can see, it's a small doll, but it takes a lot of time. But it's more time consuming than that it is complicated. At least I hope you are thinking the same way. I will also make some more beginner friendly pages, but I think sometimes they are simply boring, and I notice some people are not really looking forward to coloring them, so maybe it's just fun to show you how to color the more pretty ones. I made a mistake, you see. I went over this and I had some brown here, so I'm correcting it with my skin tone. You can get rid of small mistakes. I haven't not cleaned my tip as well as I should be, and when you go over it you end up with a stain. That's not good, but you can also see that you can correct things. I blend this very lightly. You can also add some more, build them up. Do not do it too harsh. I know in makeup you see it, but please don't do it. It's ugly. At least I think so, but maybe I'm getting old. Two caterpillars above your eyes I think is not pretty. Okay, very careful with the black. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I wanted to show you. I'm adding on some more shading in the corners of her eyes first. Otherwise they were a little bit flat, you see. Just a little bit more. Looking for my blending thingy again. We'll blend it very fast. I can assure you when this one is completely colored and you see all those puppets colored together, then it will be a very lovely coloring. And if you color it your best way, it's even a coloring you can hang up on your wall, I think, because it has a artsy feel about it. Okay, I will show you what I was trying to say. My Posca pen, I'm dipping it here. You see? Now she has beautiful eyes. I always do it here and in the corners. Now her eyes are alive again. We'll add on some orange as a blush. We can do that now. We have decided what clothes she was going to wear. So I am adding some orange to her cheeks. You can imagine that pink probably isn't so pretty now because, well, it's not in her clothes. I always try to stay in the same colors with a little variation always, but not too much. A little bit of the dark here. And do we have, what pencil did we use here? You can always blend it in a little bit with this one, but you can also do it with your blending stump. It's also possible, but you can blend it in with your pencils. With my titanium again, and here. Oh, yeah, this is the right one. I thought I had a too dark color. That would be a shame. And blend it in with the white ivory color. And now she has a blush. And you can also use one small amount at the tip of her nose. Yes. Okay. Now another thing you have to be careful with are the lips. Also, we have more colors. Here we also always have the brightest spot. It gives the shine to the lips. We are going to use this lighter orange here. And let's sharpen it. Let's be careful. These are just small, but do not use one color. At least two on a small lips like this. That's enough. But do use more than one color. Okay. I think that looks really pretty. And try to go around it outside. I think you can see it. And then I'll put the finishing touch. This is the line in the middle. I am just using a little bit of brown. I'm going to go for my Posca pen again, and I add some shine here and some here, and now she also has some shine. I think she looks really nice, and next time we will color a different puppet in a different color. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope to see you in our group, We Create Dreams, where we show you lots of things and where you also can get this lovely coloring page. Thank you for watching.